Hello, everybody, and welcome back to World of Warships Legends. My name is Spartan Elite 43, and tonight it's that time of the month. It is Patchnotes time. All right, so with that being said, these tend to be longer videos, so go get you a snack, go get you something to drink, and then I'll wait for you right here. All right, now that you're back, let's go ahead and make sure you hit that like button for me. And maybe if you're new here, subscribe. I post videos literally every day. I try to not miss. So yeah, welcome. All right, so patch notes. First of all, maintenance times 2 to 5 a.m. Central Time on both Xbox and PlayStation. Okay. Update size on Xbox One S and X, you get a 2.5 gigabyte update. For Xbox Series S and X, you get a 2.5 gigabyte update. For the PS4 and PS5, you also get a 2.5 gigabyte update. So I guess they could say that the update size is 2.5 gigabytes. I don't know why they... Maybe sometimes it's different, so this is their format that they usually use. I don't know. It's just weird. Anyway, summer has to end, but naval battles don't. Actually, naval battles do have to end. Maybe not right now, but naval battles in general do have to end. There has to be a beginning, a middle, and an end. Can't fight forever. You eventually run out of ammo. Well, maybe not for us, but in real life, which is quite a good thing. Is it though? If you ask us. The new update is closing in on us, so let's process all the elements we prepared for you. Shouldn't that be we've prepared for you? To make this autumn better than ever. I am already like 3 sentences into the patch notes, and I've already like stopped and corrected like 4 things. I apologize. Let's get this party on the road. Order and discipline campaign. First off, a Soviet campaign with traditional 100 milestones spread over 5 weeks. The Tier 7 premium cruiser Pyotr Bagration. That's all I'm giving you. So, Peter Bagration. I apologize. The Peter Bag. I can't help it. I've got the sense of humor of a 12-year-old, man. Barges in as the ultimate reward. Obtainable with 2,500 doubloons. The Admiralty backing. This warship, based on a project, because all Russian ships pretty much are, of a heavy red Navy cruiser, is quite a formidable threat. It boasts 9 7-inch, which are 180mm guns, and a decent AA suite. Improved with experience of naval battles of World War II in mind, with maximum speed capped at 34.5 knots, there's a lot of flexibility in your positioning. The mix of her strengths provides an interesting way to fill different battlefield roles. Try it yourself and see. Below, you can find the campaign rewards breakdown with corresponding doubloon values. If you do not buy the Admiralty backing, you can acquire all of this just by completing the campaign. However, and it is worth 15,760 doubloons worth of stuff that you can get absolutely free. However, if you do decide to buy the Admiralty backing and you manage to complete the campaign, you get the Tier 7 Soviet cruiser Peter Bag, or I'm probably demonetized already, and you get all of this other stuff. Okay, plus you get this stuff, right? I'm fairly confident. And by fairly confident, I mean I know. So you get all of the free stuff, but you also get all of this, which totals up to 69,990 doubloons, which, you know, somebody did that on purpose. Anyway, Transformers are back, guys. I mean, it's a thing. What are those thunderous sounds? The mighty Transformers paving their way back to the seas. This collaboration sees 4 new commanders added to the Legends. 2 Legends. Both Autobots and Decepticons. with corresponding skins for Tier 7 ships as follows. That I prefer. Okay? And I talked about this with the last Transformers package. I don't want, and I think I've talked about this with other issues too. I prefer, if you're going to do a collaboration like this, rather than releasing a ship that is literally almost identical to a Tech Tree ship with a skin on it, just give us the skin and a commander or something. You know what I'm saying? It's so much better, in my opinion. In my opinion. So, Grimlock with King of Primitive skin for French battleship Richelieu. This scary-looking Dinobot is all about improving your battleship's secondary caliber guns and eating enemies, of course. Okay. I hate to say it, but I think I'm one of the few people that actually gets close enough for the secondaries on a Jean Bart or a Richelieu to go off. But, you know, that's a thing. Maybe this will inspire more people to build a secondary build on the French battleships. Don't do that. Hot Rod with the Hot Racer skin for British cruiser Edinburgh. Improve radar makes spotting you from planes more difficult. Hunt aircraft easy. Interesting. Soundwave with the Superior skin for Italian cruiser Amalfi. Better maneuverability and better smoke screens. Great choice for the Italian cruisers. And then we have Starscream, which is a popular Decepticon that people have been asking for a long time, since the first one. Where's Starscream? But here you go. Starscream with the Lord of the Seekers skin for the German aircraft carrier August von Parseval. Faster aircraft with a bigger health pool. What more can you ask for a carrier commander? Yeah. Check the store to learn more about this offer and don't miss a blog post with the detailed breakdown of the Transformers collaboration tomorrow. Please note, you'll be able to acquire any of the Transformers content from the previous collaboration, Megatron, Optimus Prime, Bumblebee, Rumble, starting first week of the update, August 30th, while the new reinforcements of Grimlock, Hot Rod, Soundwave, and Starscream will arrive on week 2 from September 6th. Also, if I screwed up and got this completely wrong, I apologize. But usually, I'm not a huge Transformers fan. I apologize, but I'm usually the Autobots are the Allies side of things, and the Decepticons are the Axis side of things. So yeah, that's what I'm basing this off of. I have no idea. I know who Starscream is, obviously, but the other ones I have no idea who these guys are. Anyway. Alternative Soviet destroyers in early access. Are these going to be torpedo boats? We already have the gunboats, right? So maybe these are torpedo boats, in which case we definitely need more torpedo boats in the game. Next, come even better news, comrades. 3 fresh off the dock, dangerous Soviet destroyers. Subrazitely. I apologize to all the Russian folks out there. I cannot speak your language, but we'll just call it the Subaru at tier 4. Then we've got the Bovoy. I can say that one at tier 5. Russian for pugnacious. So okay, so Subra is Russian for sharp, so we'll just call it the Sharp at tier 4. Then we've got Pugnacious at tier 5, and we have Kiev at tier 6. I can say Kiev as well. So, yeah. Wait for you in early access as an alternate branch. You can receive these warships with unique personal missions, 1 per ship, while opening dedicated Soviet destroyer crates and big crates. with a better chance to get an early access destroyer with the big crates. If luck is not your signature trait, worry not. Those warships will become researchable as soon as the next update, with Utiloi capping off the branch at Tier 7. I can also say that one. See, I know the Utiloi. I can say Bovoy, and I can say Kiev. I cannot say that word at the front. The closest I get is Subrazitnly. I'm not even doing it. I've already embarrassed myself enough as is. I apologize. But just so you guys are aware, those of you who are not familiar with the early access and how it works, these ships will only be available through crates for basically 1 month or 5 weeks. It's an update cycle. Okay? At the end of that, it'll go into just regular tech tree. You can research them and play through them like you normally would. So keep that in mind. To learn more about these feisty vessels, check out our upcoming feature blog post. Arena Battles Season 5, 6, and 7. Arena is coming back with 3 short-timed seasons this time. Arms Race Mechanic is an active way to spice up the flow of battles, and it's active for all 3 seasons. Battle with Tier 5 through Tier 7 ships, depending on the season's rules, with no carriers allowed whatsoever. I'm glad that they stressed that. And earn rewards according to your overall placement. The better you do, the better you get. Prizes include steel, commander progression items, crates, and more. The action starts on September 9th, so be prepared. That is definitely, a Lion King quote. If you don't know Be Prepared, it's the song that the hyenas and Scar sing when they have... Never mind. You can learn everything in detail about these arena seasons in our dedicated blog post next week. New Big Crate. New season, new crate. This time, the big one lets you obtain London, West Virginia, and Bliskovica. Bliskovica? That's what I'm going with. Among other in-game content. Check the drop rates for this crate and any other of your interest at worldofwarshipslegends.com, wowslegends.com/containers. That's where you get the drop rates. Okay? And you can see what's in the crates. Balance changes. We are bringing in a lot of changes in this update. Those include both nerfs and buffs to popular and less so ships. 13 in total. Commanders and skills, toning down a bit some of the most effective ones and improving those that are underperforming, according to our stats. Spreadsheet says things are going to get interesting. You'll notice that we touch 2 of the most popular destroyer inspirations, and that is done in hopes of more diversity when it comes to builds. However, the well-known combo will still provide the best concealment. In other words, they're nerfing the concealment of destroyers. Finally. So, yeah. As somebody who likes to play destroyers and battleships, don't get me wrong, we all know that destroyers are OP as crap. Let's be real. A concealment build destroyer getting to within 4.5 kilometers of you without being detected is BS. Period. Tier 7 Cleveland. The stock main battery reload time was increased from 6.5 seconds to 7 seconds, and the major upgrade from 6 to 6.5 seconds. Okay? So, once you get this thing fully upgraded, you would normally have a 6-second reload or potentially less if you've got it built for reload. It'll now be a half a second slower. Not a huge nerf, but it is a nerf. Legendary Tier Alaska. One thing I would like to see from the devs in this, okay, and I think a lot of people would be with me on this, all right? I'm not a huge stats guy, but when you're giving the nerfs for things, tell us what that's going to affect. Like in this instance, you're raising the reload time, right? Which is going to nerf the amount of damage per minute that you're going to get out of the Cleveland. So why not put that in as another line? I know it adds to the patch notes. You're trying to keep things compact, But it would come in handy for us to see, okay, moving it just this half a second seems inconsequential. But that half a second may end up turning into a 1,500 damage per minute decline in overall output. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what the actual result is. Just that would be something that would be nice on these buffs and nerfs to get a better idea for those of us who maybe don't crunch the numbers ourselves. You know, just say. I just like to give feedback occasionally. Legendary tier Alaska. The radius of max dispersion of main guns decreased by 10%. Penetration of AP shells increased by 5%. Repair party reload time decreased from 60 to 50 seconds. Hit points per second regen is increased by 33%. In other words, the Alaska is getting a significant buff all across the board. Tier 6 Nagato. Maximum speed increased to 26 knots from 22.3 knots. Go figure. I just did a whole series on this thing, and suddenly, now they're buffing it. But it is nice. For those of us who used to play the Nagato back in the day, it's going to be nice to get it buffed back to somewhere close to what it used to be. All right, 26 knots from 22.3 knots. Rudder shift time decreased for both hulls from 15.2 to 13.7, and that's actually massive. All right, that is massive. And from 14.4 to 12.9. So with my build, you would be at a 12.9 right now. Pretty good. Might even be better than that. I can't remember. Shell grouping increased by 2.5%. Okay, when you see shell grouping increased, that's a buff. Okay? When you see shell grouping decreased, that's a nerf. And we'll see that later on as well. Tier 7 Kagero, because, you know, Kagero definitely needed a buff. It isn't because that there are premium destroyers that are just better in every way. It's that the ship is underperforming. Reload time of torpedo tubes decreased from 101 seconds to 91 seconds. Yeah, that's an entire 10-second difference in getting Japanese torpedoes back on the play field. Fantastic. Legendary tier Yamato. Shell grouping decreased by 5%. Rotation speed of the main guns decreased from 4.5 degrees per second to 4 degrees per second. This is a pretty big change, I think, that most people are going to, agree needed to happen. Yamato is too powerful currently. Maybe once there are more legendary ships, specifically legendary battleships to counter the Yamato, maybe then they can bring it back to how it is now. But this needed to happen. Yamato's been OP for a while. Seeing it get nerfed is a big thing. So the shell grouping is going to be worse overall by 5%. And the rotation speed of the main guns is also going to be worse. So from 4.5 degrees per second, I forget what that is in seconds to go 180 degrees. I forget. But it was pretty good. And then now it's going to be slightly worse. Okay? Somebody's going to do like the thing and go, okay, well, if it's 4.5 degrees per second and you multiply that by 60 seconds, or you multiply that by 180, because you're trying to get 100... Never mind. You take 180 degrees, divide by 4.5 degrees per second, and that should tell you how many seconds it takes to go around. Never mind. I'm an idiot. Anyway, we already know this. UK. Tier 7 Vanguard. Shell grouping increase. You couldn't have an update. Okay, you cannot have an update without buffing the Bismarck and the Vanguard. You can't. You have to have an update that you can't have an update without buffing those two ships. Those two ships, since they have been in the game, have been buffed every single patch, I think. Somebody's going to look back in history and prove me wrong, but I'm fairly confident. Just about every patch that we've had, they've received some sort of a buff every single time. Which speaks two things, okay? Some would say, well, that's a terrible thing. Why do they keep buffing the same ships over and over again? I'll tell you why. Because our development team only makes very small changes at a time. Why is that a good thing? Because you don't end up with just absolutely broken ships because somebody decided that they wanted to add, a big buff all of a sudden. So when you change small things at a time, you get a better feel for it overall. That's one thing that the developers have done pretty well as far as that goes. That being said, anybody who's played the Vanguard and the Bismarck back in the day, before they were actually useful, knows exactly how painful they used to be, and that they don't really necessarily need a buff anymore. But what do I know? I mean, I just put up 225,000 damage in the Vanguard in my Path 2 video, and then on top of that, I've been doing pretty good in the Bismarck in the last couple of videos I've done in the Bismarck. So maybe I'm just an outlier. I don't know what I'm talking about, but they seem pretty much decent now. They're not the awful things. Here's the thing. Everybody wants every ship in the game to be, the best. That's just not the way it works. Okay, you have a best ship and you have worse ships. That's how that works. Like, one ship generally is better than the others, and the others are close. But, some people might prefer the Bismarck over the Iowa in one instance. I don't know why anybody would, but they just might. So, keeping them close to one another is one thing. But at the end of the day, there's always going to be a ship that is the worst. Okay? It's just how it works. Some ships are just better designed than others. You keep buffing them and buffing them and buffing them, you can make the worst ship the best ship. But come on. What's the point? All right? That's just my opinion. But anyway, so Tirpitz is getting some love. That's a first. She's getting better shell grouping, increased by 6%. Torpedo tube's armor against HE shells is increased. So you're not going to be able to knock out the torps on the Tirpitz as easy. I imagine it'll still be pretty easy for people that are actually shooting for the torp tubes to knock them out with an HE shot, especially battleships shooting at the torp tubes of a. My phone is going off after I just turned it off. I literally powered it down. It did not listen to me. Maybe I hit the restart button. I don't know. Anyway, Bismarck also getting a shell grouping increase of 5%. So both of these ships getting even more accurate. Tirpitz, I could say, okay, you needed a little bit there. Bismarck, I don't think needs to be any more accurate, and they're getting another 5% buff on the Bismarck. Like, the Bismarck, the last few times I've taken it out, it's been pretty reliable in damage, especially with the new penetration angles that they buffed in the last update. Like, the penetration angles was a big deal. That was one of my biggest annoyances with the Bismarck and pretty much all the German battleships, is that their armor piercing sucks. Like, first of all, you've got awful dispersion, right, that you get on these. And then when you finally do hit stuff, if it hits any armor whatsoever, it just shatters because the penetration angle is so bad. But now, like, it's pretty reliable. People give you a broadside in the freaking Bismarck, you citadel them reliably. So, I don't know that it needed another buff, but we'll see. France. Tier 7 Champagne. Maximum range of main guns increased from 17,480 meters to 17,780 meters. In other words, from 17.5 kilometers to 17.8 kilometers. Okay? Essentially. Shell grouping is increased by 5%. Reload time of the main guns decreased from 28.6 down to 26.6, so you're going to be even faster reloading than what I already had as a reload build, so that could be fun. The only problem with the Champagne is it's so freaking... Okay, so it does get some repair party love too. The regen rate is increased by 33%. But the problem with the Champagne is, if you go broadside to get your guns involved, you're going to get citadeled. And the Champagne is great against people who don't know what they're doing. As soon as you go up against a player who actually knows what they're doing, they will absolutely murder your face. But, that's just the thing. And Gasconia's getting some love as well. Same thing. Repair party hit points per second regen is increased by 33%. Still don't know why anybody would choose a Gasconia over the Richelieu or the Jean Bart, but that's the thing. If you don't have the Jean Bart, just go through the tech tree, get you a Richelieu. I promise it's better than the Gasconia. There's no reason I would ever take a Gasconia into a fight. And I said that during the Mitha on that ship. Just, I don't see the reason for it. The Richelieu is just better. Having all of your firepower at the front so that you never have to give up that weak side. It just makes more sense. Tier 5 Nevny. Rotation speed of the main guns increased from 6 degrees per second to 7. Armor against HE shells for steering gears and engine increased as well. Tier 7 Tashkent. Repair party added to the slot with smoke generator as a consumable of choice. That's pretty cool. So those of you who choose to go gunboaty, especially solo, when you get yourself into those fights, if you like to be solo gunboaty style in Tashkent, like I tend to just go straight for destroyers when I'm in it, drop the smoke, you can pick up a health now, or a heal. That's pretty nice. I do that on the Kaaba unless I'm playing in a division. Italy, Tier 5 Leone. Or Leon, Lee1. We'll call it Lee1. Le1, that's the one. This is Neo. Exhaust smoke generator added to the slot with smoke generator as a consumable of choice. Exhaust smoke generator duration increased from 17 to 20 seconds for all Italian cruisers. Okay. So Montecuccoli, for all the Italian cruisers equipped with it. Sorry, I didn't see this part. Montecuccoli, the Trento, Zara, and Amalfi, along with its dispersion time being increased from 30 to 35 seconds. I'm glad that they said for all Italian cruisers, because if this would have been on the Palo de Revel, I think people would have probably lost their friggin' minds. At the same time, or not Palo de Revel, Palo de Revel's the commander, the Palo, I can't remember. The new Italian destroyer. The Palo. I can't remember. At the same time, secondary guns' aiming priorities were changed. Now, enemy destroyers are more likely to be chosen as a target in case there are 2 or more options for the... Thank you. Thank you, Wargaming. Thank you, development team. I'll hold back on the Wargaming. Thank you, development team. For this, finally, I'm tired of battleships taking all the secondaries away when there is a destroyer 4 kilometers from me charging in with very little health, and he's going to get all of his torpedoes off because my secondaries prioritize a battleship which they're doing basically nothing to unless they set a fire when they could easily kill the destroyer. So thank you for prioritizing the destroyers. I appreciate that. They have been a problem for a long time. Skills changes, buffs. Before it's too late, bonus to torpedo detectability increased. I'm not going to go through all of it, but it's basically increased by, like, not quite double, but close. Okay? Flank speed. Penalty rudder shift time changed to plus 3% instead of plus 5. Marksmanship. Penalty to rudder shift time on level 4 changed from plus 10% to plus 5%. So that's pretty nice. Mortar. Penalty to destroyer's visibility is now same on every level at plus 4 instead of plus 5 and plus 10%. So that's pretty nice. That's one thing that I've always said too, is you got to watch when you go up to like the final tier of things, because the final tier on a perk comes usually with a huge penalty. And so you've got to watch that. And so this actually is going to be pretty nice for anybody who uses the mortar perk. Velocious, bonus to ship speed increased with buff ranging from 2 to 5% now instead of 1 to 4%. So speed builds are getting a little bit of a buff. Evil Sparks, penalty to destroyer's HE shell damage decreased on every level to 35 to 20%. Instead of 55 to 40%. So that's going to be huge for ships like, well, pretty much the only one that I use that on is, I think my Russian destroyers, and then on top of that, the, Akazuki. So you don't have to cut your freaking HE or fire chance in half anymore. which I imagine this was going to start getting picked up again. Running with scissors, penalty to dispersion of main battery on level 3s and 4s changed from +7 and +10 to +5 and +6. So actually a big change there. Most of these changes are pretty big for the skills. But again, they're with skills that people just don't use. Or use very little. Nerfs. Fragile Threat is nerfed. Bonus to destroyers' concealment is decreased from 2.5% to 2%. Well, at the top level from 10% to 8%. So it's not a huge change, but it may change people from being able to get to 4.5 kilometer dispersion to being like 4.8, 4.9, maybe 5 with the other ones that have been changed as well. Ingenious, guns rotation speed reduced from 0.2 degrees per second on every level. Hide and Seek, Jerzy Swirsky's base trait. The bonus to ship's concealment is decreased on every level of the skill. Maximum bonus is now -4% instead of -5. Again, not a huge change, but this coupled with this is going to be a noticeable difference. Okay? Shifty, Eric Bay's base trait. Bonus to destroyer's concealment is decreased on every level. Maximum bonus is now -5 instead of -6. So again, you've got a 1% decrease in concealment here, a 1% decrease in concealment here, and then you've got a 2% decrease in concealment here. All right? So you have a 4% decrease in overall concealment on concealment build destroyers. That's significant. And I think every battleship captain on the planet appreciates it. All right. Oklahoma Project is deprecating. The Oklahoma Project will become deprecated after the September update. It means that you will need to have at least one research point in the project to be able to finish it later. Remember that. You don't have to have completed a stage or anything like that. Just go in, start the project, and then change it back to whatever you want to change it to. But if you want to keep this and be able to do it later, just start the project and then you can go back to doing whatever you want immediately. As long as it ticks a couple times, you're good. Okay? Bug fixes. No more incorrect ship type icons in the select inspiration menu. That's nice. Unintended spotlights on the water surface wherever arpeggio of blue steel ships are destroyed do not appear anymore. Paid and free campaign rewards are now correctly shown on the port widget screen. Vertical movement for camera on Wick's destroyer is now correctly limited. Premium ships in this update. Tier 5 Japanese aircraft carrier Zuiho. Available for doubloons. First premium carrier in Legends. With excellent concealment for the aircraft. Interesting. Tier 6 American destroyers Charles F. Hughes. Available for doubloons. Further extends the range of red, white, and blue destroyers, providing a lot of torpedoes to launch at your foes. Interesting. I'll be looking that one up for sure. Legendary tier Soviet cruiser Stalingrad for 2 million global XP. Now, let me reiterate. This is a legendary tier ship. This is not a tier 7 that they're putting in for 2 million global XP. A lot of people have been real upset. 2 million global XP? What are they thinking? They gotta be crazy. Somebody was going to have to pay $3 million for that ship. No. First of all, global XP is free. You don't have to pay anything for it. If you decide to convert your global or your elite XP into global XP, that's on you. But you don't have to. Now, will it take you a freaking year and a half to save up 2 million global? Maybe not quite a year and a half, but it'll be a long time to save it up if you're just starting out. So, and it should be. It's a legendary tiered ship. You shouldn't be able to just, grab it for brand new players. So I personally don't have a problem with this. But that being said, it is the Stalingrad. It is a Russian battle cruiser or super cruiser. It is basically the Russian Alaska. So keep that in mind. We realize that this is a very unusual way of delivery for a legendary tiered ship, but we also felt it's time to try something new. While only a handful of players will be able to get her right away, we know a lot among you have multiple global XP ships. So, while this is certainly a long-term goal, it's not beyond the horizon. Also, considering Stalingrad is our first non-Bureau project ship, we're making her available with a permanent camo. So there's another bonus. Instead of, like most legendary ships, when you get them after completing the Bureau, you have to put your own permanent camo on it. This comes with a permanent camo, which is going to be good. When it comes to what the ship is, think of a huge cruiser with 12-inch guns, which are 305 millimeters, offering an excellent performance with AP shells, serious hit point pull, and quite a bit of speed, and a choice between defensive AA and radar to boot. Please note also that Stalingrad is not a premium ship, but simply a ship of legendary tier. So changes to her performance are very much possible and even likely. Please consider that before making a purchase. Spend this autumn on the seas and turn the tide. Okay, they put that last thing in there for everybody who's ever bought a premium and had it nerfed on World of Tanks back in the day before they got sued over it. Okay? That's what this last line is. Okay? Stalingrad is just a regular legendary ship that's going to come with a permanent camo. Okay? It is 2 million global XP. But it is a regular legendary ship, so it is likely to be nerfed at some point. So keep that in mind. And with that being said, I hope you guys have enjoyed. I tried to make this as short, but also as entertaining as possible. We had some giggles early on. Hope you guys didn't mind too much. And if you like what I'm doing, punch the like button, leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, I will see you in the next video.